Okay, so let me share my screen. Moment, ah. Okay, so last week, you were given this homework to do. Did you all manage to do it? Maybe I can see some notes or can type in the chat. Okay, great. Seems like everybody kind of did it. Okay, so maybe we can get someone to volunteer. Anybody, any brave soul wants to volunteer for the assignment? Otherwise, I have to call my mighty randomizer. Any volunteers? Okay, then I guess I have to roll the dice then. Okay. Let me roll like a few seconds. Is Hagen here? Okay, it's not here. Next one. Genevieve.
Hi, yeah.
Hi. Do you like to have you did you do the homework?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Do you want to share like maybe a few parts? Then we can call another person to share a bit. Maybe just share the
Okay.
question one lah. Yeah.
So for maximum age, I took equal max
Mm-hmm.
from B2 to B26.
B2 to B26. So you did this lah, max. Then you do B2 to B26, right?
Yeah.
Yep, looks good. Okay, then maybe the next one.
Then I did equals min then
Mm-hmm.
F2 to F26.
F2 to F26. Yep, looks, yeah,
And then
it's great.
total premium I did equals sum H2 to H26.
Yep, looks about right.
And then for total premium for male, I did sum if
Mm-hmm.
equals sum if C2 to C26. And then I then comma male, comma M7, then after that H2 to H26.
What is M?
Right, the one
Oh,
right
this
next
one
to
is it?
yeah, on your side
Okay.
is down 7, yeah.
Oh, okay. And then after that, you just
Yeah,
you did some
H2
ifs,
to
is it?
H.
You did
Yeah,
some
some,
ifs, is it?
yeah.
Okay. Yep. Looks. Actually, I forgot which one you use again. Some if or some ifs? Because there's a
Without the
difference
S.
in the order.
Yeah, without the S.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then you did this lah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then the
Then
youngest female.
I did uh equals MIN, then after that bracket if, then bracket log C2, and then to log C26 equals to uh string of female, then comma B2 to B26.
Would you like to repeat that again? I got lost a bit.
I
Sorry.
type in the chat.
Ah, yes. Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
By the way, everybody can get all these answers.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Um, So I just wonder when we calculate the total premium, do we need to multiply by the premium term?
I think this is already calculated for you, the column H, because you see the formula is already, they already did the multiplication for you. So it's like easy way to see this.
Oh,
Yeah. Was this
okay.
provided? The column H?
Yeah, okay. I think I multiplied it twice.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because
Okay,
this
no
is,
worries.
you're right to say that the annual premium is this. But this is like to multiply together to get the total premium that they need to pay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We are excluding any discounting lah. So this is good enough lah. Column H. Okay. Let me see the chat. I can't find the chat. Zoom. Ah, yes. Okay. Okay. So Genevieve did this. Equal to mean if this is a female, then we'll do this. We'll sum the ages. So, yeah, right. Because we only want to filter out the females from this, and then we'll get 1 year old. Can you all can get it, right? If you all do anything, just unmute and ask. No scared. Okay, then if there's nothing wrong, then we will move on to the next question. I think the next question is already provided to you. So I think you don't, I mean, it's already column G provided. So I think we didn't have to do this part. And then question 3 and 4 is the averages from here. So maybe you would like to have another volunteer to share. Okay, a bit quiet, class. Okay, let's use the randomizer then. Hi, Tingshen.
Oh, hi, Darren.
Yeah, would you like to share? Maybe you want to share screen instead. Then it's easier for us to take a look at your
Oh,
workings.
can.
Mm.
Oh, I think you disabled the screen sharing from.
Okay, let me. I'll just make you co-host then. Are you able to share now?
Okay, let me see. Oh, I think I can now.
Okay, great.
Oh, wait. You can see the Excel right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so for question 3, question 3 is in this column M. So I did this. So I use average ifs and average this column G, and I filter for the both female and male, and then if their age is between 1, so it's greater than 1 and less than or equal to 10. This one.
Yep. Can everybody get that?
Is that right?
Okay, I can't see everybody, but based on everybody's faces, looks like they're okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So,
yep, yeah, correct, you're correct.
Oh, but then I just drag it down to here. So then the cells are auto like drag down. So like copied. And for the male and female separately, I just add another kind of condition. So for the criteria range 3, I select the column C, the gender column, and let the column equal to male or equal to female, depending on which one you want to look at. Then I got the answer too, for the male and female, and seems like their answers look relatively similar, so maybe the function I use is correct.
Yep. Looks perfect.
Yeah, I'm
Anybody have
curious.
any issues struggling with this question? The using average is?
I got the same answer, but I used like another
Oh, okay.
token.
How do
Like,
you do it? Maybe you want to you can verbally share with us.
I use the average is then G2 to G26 locked in, then B2 to B26 locked in. Then I use less than 11, and then I did B2 to B26 again, then greater than 0 for the first one, and then for subsequent I just change accordingly.
Oh, okay. So it's a similar idea. It's just that it's a different
Wording.
different range. But yeah, it seems okay.
Okay.
Less than 11, is it, you say?
Less than 11, and then another criteria just more than 0.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Or you can use like Ting Shen said, you can use less than equal to, because you can just reference straight away from the cell. Let me just share my screen now. Yeah, because you can straight away reference from here straight away, because sometimes your work needs you to go and reference to certain cells. So it's better to just reference to one particular cell straight away. Like for example, my answer here, I will straight away call on this cell here and this cell here. So it's a bit more dynamic lah, in a sense. So if you don't want to hard code yourself all the way, then you can just use the less than equal to, and then you put you just reference to some cell lor. So when you change the value, you will change accordingly also. Can okay?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, but interesting idea. Okay, so I think Ting Shen got everything right, and yeah, the formula is quite straightforward. It's just using average ifs. The idea of this average if actually works the same as sum ifs. So you have a range here. You start with the range that you want to sum or you want to average, and then after that you list all the different criteria over here. So you should the idea works the same. So you don't have to be so worried about how the formula works overall. Okay, and then he also made it into a very dynamic formula because you reference to the column here, the column name, and as well as the criteria that they want. So I think that's what you should be aiming for in the long term, because in work you have to go and reference to all your ready parameters, so that when it changes, in the future when things changes, you have to go and change the parameters as well. Then things will work out better. Yeah, you don't have to trouble yourself so much lah, in a sense. Okay, and then I think once you plot this graph, then you should be able to see, once you have these values, this will automatically pop up if I'm not wrong. And then you have this graph over here. So I think in general, the observation you have is quite clear lah. As long as your age increases, then your premium increases in this particular scenario, right? Which is I would say, I don't know if it's common sense, but maybe it is, because as the older you get, then the more likely you're able to die, touch wood, and then you have to naturally pay more to get yourself covered more, in layman terms. I don't do life insurance, so that's how I interpret it at least. So I'm not sure about you guys. Yeah, but this is how it generally works lah. Okay, but of course, we can't just base on like mortality rates and then we say, oh yeah, because premium increase, then mortality increase, then therefore premium increase. We have to see what product we're selling, and there's so many different factors involved, and then we have to take those into account as well. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm done with the homework. Yeah, anybody have anything to ask? Otherwise, then I will just start the class formally now. Okay, so don't have, I will just reshare my screen to the new workbook. Wait. Okay, so last week Irfan actually mentioned about basic functions. So now we'll talk about something a little bit more interesting, and I think one of the more interesting topics is here because we're talking about today we're talking about lookup functions, we're talking about nested ifs and indirect function offset, as well as some examples for you to try later on. Okay, so before we go on to lookup functions, maybe here are some like interesting tips for you guys. So sometimes you like to reference to other different workbooks lah. So for example, over here, if I put a equal to, and then I go to another workbook, I go and click on this. Okay, so this will reference me to another another worksheet over here. So this here just implies that I'm going to this particular worksheet here, and then I'm going to cell E8 in this worksheet. So this is how we actually name the cell in a sense. So this is important when we talk about indirect and address later, but this is something to take note of. And you can also reference to another workbook. So let's see how I can do this. If I click on File and I open a new workbook, not sure if you're able to see my new workbook, but let's say when I say I put hi in the workbook here. If I reference to this, I go to another workbook, I reference this. So notice that this here, the bracket is became square. So this means that I'm going to this workbook book 1, and then I'm in sheet 1, I'm referenced to cell D6. So this is also another thing to take note of. And sometimes you have multiple, like let's say you open a workbook, but you don't know which workbook is linked to what, right? So that's how you can check it out. You can click on data, right? And then you see this edit link function over here. So when you click on the edit link function, a few workbooks should pop out lah. So this one of them, book 1, because I'm referencing to the hi over here. Let's not open one workbook and put hi in the workbook, and then I reference to this. So this means that I'm linked to this workbook. And then I'm also having other different workbooks that are linked to this, but the drawback is just that you might not know where exactly it's linked to. So you have to go and check it out and see where can I find this particular cell that's linked to. Because sometimes you want to get rid of it. But if you want to get rid of it, it's quite simple. You just click on this and then you click on break link. If I click on break link, then this linkage kind of thing is gone. And then all I see is the hi, right? It just becomes hi on as a hard-coded value. So initially there was this square bracket book 1 something, right? So now it became just hard-coded hi. So that means that the link has been broken already. So if I do other things and I break it, then this will just become hard-coded. So this is good when you have a lot of workings in your hand and you want to submit to maybe someone that doesn't really need to know what you're doing behind the scenes. So you can use that to break the link, and then you send that broken link to the whoever that needs it, maybe someone that's not in the actual department. So that will help them to I guess not feel so stressed when they look at the formula. Yeah. So that's how I usually do it. That's that's how I do it usually. Yeah, but of course you save a copy of your work file in that to do that. Okay. So that was linking. If any questions later, you can ask me about it. It's quite straightforward lah. Okay. The second thing is the dangers of cut and paste. So cutting and pasting is not very good in a sense, because why? Let's say I reference to this cell over here. Okay, I reference this cell to G24, which is this cell over here. So let's say now I want to go and cut this, right? I cut and then I paste it somewhere over here. Okay, so notice that this here is still linked to this particular cell here. You see, now this has jumped to I15, right? Instead of G24. Just now I was talking about it. If I change this here, I'm supposed to reference to cell G24 here, but instead it followed the formula along to here. So this is something to take note of, because you should, if you want to copy and paste, just copy and paste. Don't go and cut and paste, because that messes the formula up sometimes lah. So it's better to just, if you want to copy and paste, just go and copy and then you paste somewhere. Then at least this formula is still linked to the G24 and not elsewhere lah. So that will be better for you to go and do that also. Okay, so that was cutting and pasting. So make sure that if you cut and paste, make sure that you're cutting and paste somewhere permanently, and that formula will be there forever for you with you. Can? So far so good, Sorry, my computer can't see everybody's face, so I have to go and click on the button to move around. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so that was some insights. Duplicate worksheet. I think you can just you can do a right click on this. Let's say I want to copy this whole, maybe I want to copy Q3. Okay, then I will just go and click on move or copy. Okay, so sometimes I want to move to another workbook. I can choose that. I can choose whichever workbook I want. But for now, let's do a simple one. I copy to the same workbook. Let's say I want to copy Q3. I click on copy, create a copy, and then this would create a new worksheet over here. So this will create a new copy over here. But if you want to shift it to another workbook, you can do that also. But if you don't click on the create a copy here, and if I shift it to somewhere else, then this whole tab here will disappear away. So let's say I shift this Q32, right, this copied version, into another workbook, say book 1. Okay, I shifted to here, all right? And now you see that the workbook is gone. Yes, it's really completely shifted over. So that's something to take note of. But when you have some link formula into the workbook, right? This the formula will be carried over to that other workbook. So then this will link to another. So there will be a link function, something going on over there. So like if you click on edit link, then you will see that the new workbook will have this workbook name over here, because you're linking it to somewhere along that line. Yeah, you can go and try it out, but I wouldn't do that. Yeah, so yeah, working on multiple worksheet. I think this is maybe I'll talk about that next time. It's not very, very important now. So let's look at the more important functions, which is lookup function. Okay, so lookup function, right, has a few various components, right? One is VLOOKUP. We call it vertical lookup, right? Vertical lookup. Okay, then horizontal HLOOKUP is horizontal lookup. Okay, and XLOOKUP is just XLOOKUP. I don't even know what the X stands for, but yeah, it's just XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP is basically a more dynamic version of V and H. So you can use I think this is quite useful now. Now that, I think because it was recently created as well. So actually you all can go and check whether you all have XLOOKUP in your workbook, because the older version doesn't have the XLOOKUP. So you can just equal to XLOOKUP. And if there's some formula popping up, then you're safe lah. Later you can use that function to try out later. So if you don't have, then you might have to bear with me for that throughout this whole lesson. Okay, so you can try XLOOKUP, and then transpose, index match, and index array match. We'll talk about this later. This is quite an important function in actual work, because a lot of people uses this index match. I don't know if you're here before, but we always talk about index match, but it's not easy to grasp, but let's talk about that later. Okay, so VLOOKUP. Okay, VLOOKUP is simply we are doing a vertical lookup. So means that, let's say I have the name B over here, right? I want to go and look up, right, what is the claim number, right, belonging to name B. Okay, so if you look at it here, right, naturally you will see that, oh, B. So my claim number must be this number here, 27446712, right? I can just equal to this, right? And then I just equal to D, then E, I just equal to E, right? Looks quite straightforward here, right? But let's say I have this only like what, 10 policies or 9 policies. right? Now, what if I have 1,000 policies? Then I need to go and find the names of like 2 people. I can't be possibly looking through the 1,000 people and then like, oh, so this is name B and whatever. Oh, so this must be name B after looking through like 999 copies of different policies, right? So this is where VLOOKUP come in. Okay, so let me demonstrate once for you. We will do it in a more straightforward way. Okay, VLOOKUP here simply says that, right, we're looking for a value, right, in the leftmost column of the table, right, and then return a value from the same row, same column, sorry. Yeah, same column. So you see the names here are quite friendly because they tell you like, oh, what you need to input first, right? So lookup value is simply what I'm looking for, right? So I just click on B because I'm interested in finding policy for name B. Okay, and the table array, right? I have to highlight the column of the name, right? And then I drag all the way. Right, I can drag it here, I can drag it here, actually, but let me drag all the way first. Okay, so this table array over here, okay, column index number, right? This will be the first column will always be 1, right? The leftmost column will always be 1. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So I'm looking for claim number, right? I'll press 2 because it's column 2, right? And then we're talking about either we want an approximate match or exact match. So most of the time we're looking for exact match. Okay, so I'll just put false. Okay, then I close my bracket. Okay, so then voila, we got the ID over here. It sort of did a search straight away for you. So then you have the claim number. So if I drag it down, right, then you see that I got my other policies. Do I? I do, but actually I wanted it to not be. Because why? Anybody want to tell me what's wrong with this formula? Hello, anybody?
Is it the locking? The locking of the area that you're
Yes.
searching?
Yes, who is this? Sui Kai, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Sui Kai. So this, you see here, there's some the table like drop down a little bit lah, right? So if I change this to A, right, then this will give me NA, right? Something wrong with this formula. So I should go and remember that when I go and search, right, I must go and log my tables. Actually, my table is my most important one. I have to log this, right? Make sure that it's logged here. And then the G, I should log the column, right? So I should log this way. Okay. So when I drag it down, I mean, the output is the same, but yeah, at least when I change this to A, it still changed the output for me that I want. All right. Then just to do a sanity check, right? This is still here and this is still here. Everything's here. Okay. Then now, if I drag it here, right? This is not what I want, right? H should be which column?
3.
Anyone? 3. Yes, correct. This column 3, right? And then you give me 63, and benefit will be 4. Okay, and then this will give me the rest of the answer.
Just a quick
Okay.
question, right? What
Yes.
syntax do you use, right? Let's say, there's one client, right, and they're doing more than one claims. So I assume that VLOOKUP cannot be used because you only return the first, the first result, lah. So what
Yes,
syntax
yes. Okay,
industry
so
to come with more than one?
who's this? Joshua, is it? Okay, yeah. So Joshua asked the question. Let's say I have 2 entries of A here. Let's say I change this to A, right? And now you see that I have 2 different policies, but the same name. Okay, so that's when later we can use XLOOKUP to help us with the syntax, because we can change the way we want to search the name. We can either do from ascending order or we can do descending order. First to last or last to first. Oh, sorry, what's the question?
As in like, how do you return a list of all the matches lah? So let's say we want to get the death benefit for maybe the policy holder has 3 policies, for example, then that person dies. So is there a way to return a list of all the claim numbers or all the benefits lah associated with that client?
I think there is a function to do that. I think XLOOKUP is able to do that. Later, maybe let's try that later, because I don't really use this on a daily basis. So maybe let's take a look at that later. Okay, so this is for VLOOKUP, right? It seems a little bit hard-coded because of the columns here, but later, maybe let's take a look at it later how to improve that. All right. So XLOOKUP here, right? We want to return a cell input over here. So XLOOKUP here is quite straightforward. It's quite simple also, in a sense that it's also quite friendly in telling you what they want you to input first. Okay. So for XLOOKUP, right? Lookup value again is just B. All right. I mean look up the cells here. All right. And then the lookup array here. We are looking for this column here, right? Because we are looking up from this array. Okay, let's look up this here as well. And then return array, I want claim number, right? So I will go and return this over here. Right? This is the claim number that I want. And if it's not found, maybe let's skip this first. You see that there are some square brackets over here, right? This square brackets here means that it's a optional entry. So if I just close the bracket here, it will return me the answer already. But I can go and change this as well, right? 32, right? So you see that if it's not found, I can put something here, right? Let's leave it blank for the moment. If I press a comma again, I'll straight away jump to the next one already, right? Match mode, right? You can choose how I want to search it, how I want to match it, for example. So usually it's 0. And search mode will be either I want to search from top to bottom, or bottom to first, or do a binary search. So all these are quite intense, but usually we will use first to last lah, right? Quite simple. Okay, then let me just close this. Then this will give me the same output, right? It's the same, exactly the same. And if I drag it down, this will be the output I will get. I hope you all are trying as well. Don't just look at me and input the formula. I hope you are trying as well. If you have any issues, you all can just let me know. Then we can go through it again. Okay. If not, then let me go through this part again, right? So age and benefit, let's say I want to search it up together, right? XLOOKUP can output this whole functions for you lah. So let's say I use XLOOKUP again, right? I look up value, I use this, right? Array, I use this, right? And now I want age and benefit. So age and benefit is these two columns, right? I just highlight the whole two columns over here, right? I don't highlight one column, I highlight two columns now, okay? And then I just close, right? This will give me a array output. You see, this is now, it comes out two output at one time, and then it covers together, right? And if I didn't lock it, so that's my bad. I lock up all this, okay, lock up. Okay, and then if I drag it down, right, this will give me the other two outputs that I want, right? But you see that I only keep one formula now. Okay, so if I don't have, some of you have this, I don't know if you all have it, but some of you guys might get the error here, like there's a hashtag value error or something. You can click on this, and then you click on Control-Shift-Enter. Then this will just generate the output for you in the end as well. It's just a way of the old Excel works, I guess. So this will help to force the output out from there. Okay. So far, so good. I think Joshua, your question, maybe during the break, I'll take a look at that. Interesting question. Yeah. Can? So that's how we do this. So XLOOKUP, right, can either give you a cell output or an array output. So depending on which, I guess XLOOKUP is more useful in the sense that it gives you one shot like that. Can? Okay. So let's move on to match, right? So what is match function, right? Match is basically, it returns you the relative position of an item, right? That matches a specific value, right? So what does this mean? This means that if I'm looking at, I want to match column B. I want to match B to this column over here. So then this actually just, how we do it is, we'll start, if you highlight like that, A to I, this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so that's how we name our columns or number our columns. So match is basically trying to number that rows. Sorry, number that row. Yeah, number that row. So let's try to use this formula. If I use match, right, my lookup value is B. Right, let me lock it. Lookup array, I will highlight like that, right? B24 to 32. Okay, and my match type is just exact match. Okay, so if I do that, I'll return 2, right? Because this is the match, the matching row that I'm looking at. Okay, and if I drag this down, right, this will be 4 and 5, right? Yeah, quite straightforward. Okay, so what's important about this match? We use that for indexing later, right? This is quite important for indexing later. Okay. Okay. So transpose here, you all know what's transpose, right? Transpose basically trying to like do a 90-degree rotation or something like that. So let's do a rotation of this column here, right? Claim number, oh sorry, benefit, right? So equal to transpose, right? And then it straight away ask you what's the array, right? So if I do this, this is a 9 times 1. If I transpose it, it'll be a 1 times 9, right? It'll just be a 1 times 9 like that. Okay. And if you still have the error, right, then we just do a Control Shift Enter again. And this will give you the outputs that you need. Okay. So transpose, I hope you all did some math mods. It's quite understandable, right? This function. And so let's move on to HLOOKUP, right? So HLOOKUP, ideal works the same as VLOOKUP, right? Except that we are doing on a horizontal search instead. Okay, so let's do a HLOOKUP on the transpose table that we just did over here. Okay, so let's do HLOOKUP, right? My lookup value again is just B. Okay, B. Let me do a B43. Okay, my table array will be this whole table over here. Okay, I log the whole table here, right? And then next is my row number, right? So which row am I looking at? First row or second row, right? What do you guys think? Do you think it should be first row or second row? Hello, anybody?
Second.
Yes, correct. Okay, so we look at the second row here, right? And then the range output again, we use false, right? I'll talk about true later, by the way. So then this will give me DA. Okay, so this is how we can go and solve this. All right, and then you put this down, right? You drag this down, formula should be the same, right? Because we lock our appropriate rows and columns and whatnots. Okay, and then this will give me the same output. So HLOOKUP looks at the rows, right? And VLOOKUP look at columns. Okay, you all can try this out, right? See if it works on your side. Okay, and I'll move on to the XLOOKUP version of the HLOOKUP here. Okay, so this is again XLOOKUP. Okay, so you see that XLOOKUP is very flexible. You can do a VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP to depending on what style you want, because it will give you the same result, right? So XLOOKUP again, I'm looking out for name B, right? And my lookup array, right? I'll look up this column, this row over here. Okay, my return array is this row. Okay, and then I will just close it. Okay, and then this will give me the same output as well, right? You see that this is actually quite flexible lah. XLOOKUP. You can try to incorporate this in your work or internship, whichever you are doing now. Okay, and this will give me the same output. Anyone has any burning questions or interesting questions to ask at the moment? Yeah. Yeah, everybody like quite zai. Okay lah, then I move on. Okay. Okay, so what happens if I want to use a true HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP and I change this to true? So what's the importance of this true, right? So when we look at this example here, right? You know, when you do when you see FAs, right, when you're selling insurance policies or whatnot, of course you'll get some form of commission, right? To be rewarded for selling policies, right? And we will try to break the tier up on this particular table here, right? There's a 0 to 50K, 50K to 100K, 100K to 150K, and 150K and above, right? And they will be awarded a 5 or 7 or 10 or 15% commission, right? Based on how much sales they have. Okay. So when an agent do a certain sales, right? We close a certain number of sales. We don't know how which tier they fall in, right? Until they reach a certain milestone, right? So let's say you earn 60K, right? Then which milestone should they be belonging in this particular scenario? Anybody want to give me a quick reply? If I earn 60K, if the agent earns 60K, right? How much commission? How much the commission rate for this particular agent? For 60,000. Hi, anybody?
7.
Yes, 7%, right? Because I am within this range. Okay? Okay, I think everybody is quite tired lah. Now it's like 8:15 and then you're having a lesson at night after work or whatever. Okay, so I'll give you all cut you some slack. All right, so commission rate here is 7%, right? But how do I get 7% using some sort of formula that I can get, right? And that will be VLOOKUP. Okay, so VLOOKUP, I'll look up for this particular value here. Okay, so first of all, when I given this sales tier, right, I want to create some sort of working columns, right? Working columns doesn't mean you have to show your presenter or show the person they're presenting to what these are for, right? This may be from some sort of your working for intermediate working. So I'll usually create some sort of intermediate working for myself, and then when I submit or whatever, I'll just try to maybe just remove it lah to not confuse the person that's reading my work, right? So I will go and remove it. But in this case, it doesn't matter, we're all learning. So let's put the working columns in, right? I'll create a minimum tier, right? So the minimum tier of 0 to 50K is just $0, right? And the minimum for this is 50K, $1, right? And so on and so forth. So all these working tier, all these working values here will be helpful for me, right? In this particular scenario, right? Because, right, if I do a VLOOKUP here, I search for this column, this particular value, 60K, right? Let me lock it here, right? And I will search, right, this whole column, this table here, my tier minimum and comms rate, because I'm looking for comms rate, right? And this will be, because I'm looking for comms rate, this will be 2, right? And now, right, because you see that 60K doesn't really belong over here, right? But the good thing about the true function here, right, because now I can't find exact match, I have to use true for sure, right? But in this case, it'll give me 7%. So why do I always get, why do I get 7%, right? It's simply because, right, VLOOKUP, right, true, match type, is it called match type? Yeah, range lookup, right? Range lookup for true, for lookup equals to true, right? It will always, right, output the lower value. If you some sort of idea there, right? Output the lower search value. Shit. It will always output the lower searched value. Okay, So what do I mean by that is that if I search 60K, for example, right, my closest is either 100 or 50K. 50K $1 or 100K $1, right? But it will always go to the lower value. It will give me the output for this particular row instead. So let's say if I change this to 120K, right, this will give me 10%, right? Even if it's not a round up or down, it always round down. It always go down to the nearest search value, right? Even if I search 149,999, right, I will still get 10%, right? Because this is still belonging to this particular region. So it makes sense to give me 10% still, okay? And this will give me this output. The payout is basically this times the commission rate. And then this is the commission that the agent earns in this case, okay? So I'll switch back to 60K, this will be 7%, and then I'll get 4.2K salary. I mean, payout. Okay, so you understand the lookup equals to true functionality now, right? It always gives you the lower value, lower searched row value. Okay, so this is how we will interpret this lah. Okay, and one more thing is, right? One more thing to take note is this column, your working column, right, will always have to be in ascending order. Okay, this is actually quite an important criteria, right? Let's say I sort this. Okay, let me see. I sort this from largest to smallest. Shit, sorry. I filter this from largest to smallest. Continue. Yeah, then you see that the output will be NA, right? Because this is in ascending order, right? But VLOOKUP, right? I guess the drawback, right, is that you always have to sort this in ascending order first. Then you can do the VLOOKUP. But of course, this works for the true function lah. If it's false, then it doesn't really matter because there's no order to look for in the first place. Okay, so let me reverse this, right? And I'll get the same payout over here. Can? Okay, so take note of these 2 points, right? Working column always has to be ascending, right? And my lookup has to, my lookup will always look for the smaller search value. Can? Okay, so if it's okay, let me move on to the more interesting version. Okay. Okay, so next, index match. Okay, so index match is quite interesting in the sense that we are looking for indexes, right, of certain values that we're looking for, right? So let's say I want to look for the claim number for item B again. It's basically the same example, but we are doing a different formula here because you see that there's like 10,000 ways to get one answer, but you see which one is more comfortable for you guys, and then you use whichever one that makes more sense for you. Okay, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work because maybe the column is in this. Because VLOOKUP, right? Remember that your column, right, will always have to be on the leftmost side. Then you can apply it. If not, you can't apply it. Like this has to be here, right? If my column were here, right, I can't apply VLOOKUP anymore because it's not on the left side of it. You always have to be on the left of it to apply it. If not, I can't apply it. Okay, so that was another thing that I think I missed out on saying. Yeah, I mean, just write down here, VLOOKUP, right? Column has to be on the leftmost. Just write down here for fun. Okay, just to make sure that you guys caught what I'm saying. Can Yeah, so now let's say I have this scenario, right? My column is now on the rightmost, right? Then I have an issue. I can't go and do VLOOKUP, right? Because I have to go and massage the data heavily, like shift this around, and then I can shift the columns around, then I can use VLOOKUP, right? But sometimes life hits you hard and you can't do that way. And then we have to try to use different methods. So index is one of the methods. Okay, so let's say that I have a column here. I have the name list here, and I want to find a particular column. the particular claim number for this name. Okay, so let's try to use index. Okay, so what's index? Index is you're referencing, right, at the intersection of particular row or column in a given range. Okay, so index, right, my array is the claim number that I'm looking for. So I'll highlight this whole column over here. Okay, and let me go and lock up. Okay, my row number, right? What's my row number for cell for name B? Anybody want to give me the answer for row number of cell B in this case, in this table? What is the row number for cell for name B?
2.
2, right? Because we always start 1 here and 2 over here, right? So this 2. Okay. For column number, since it's optional, we just close this first lah. Okay. Then we'll worry about that later. Okay. So then you see, it gives me the output. Right? And if I drag it down, it doesn't change lah, right? Because I lock this and this is hard-coded 2, right? But you see that where I'm trying to go to later, right? Because I'm trying to make this dynamic later, right? So this will just be D is, we just label here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 10. Okay, so if I change this to 5, you see D is column is row number 4, right? And my E is row number 10. Right? And this will give me the same output. Oh, but you realize that there's an additional output here, but maybe let's worry about this later. We look at this one here first. Anyway, it's the same output lah. Same claim number. Okay, but maybe you look at, you can change this to 5. Is it 5? Yeah. And this will be the same. Okay? So that's how we can do this. So for benefit, right, we can always do the same thing, right? But maybe let's change things up a little bit, right? Now I will go and highlight index. Sorry, this is index, right? So now I will highlight more than one column, right? I'll highlight this whole column here, these 3 columns, right? Let me lock it, right? So let's play with row number now, right? Just now we say that row number is 2 for B, right? So column number, right? Which column do we want to look at? We're looking at benefit, right? So benefit will be 1, 2, 3. So this will be 3. Then I'll close it. Then I will output my benefit over here, right? Which is DEA, right? Death benefit. Yeah. By the way, all these acronyms, right? You can always take a look over here. There's a note over here. This shows all the different acronyms lah, right? I don't use this, so don't ask me. it's all here. Okay. So then if I drag this down, right, I will get different output. I will get the same output. Let's change the columns here. I mean, let's change the row again. This is 5. And this is 4. Sorry. 4, right? And this will be 5. Right? And then I'll get the different columns. So you see, that I can always pick a column and row, and this will give me a particular output from there. But of course, you must know what I'm looking for and what column I'm looking at. Then you can try to do something from there to make it a little bit dynamic. Okay, so I hope you didn't forget what was match earlier, right? Match is basically matching what index you're at, right? Matching the index. So again, let's try this again. We do a match, or maybe someone want to fill this in for me. How do I finish this formula for match? That's why we talked about this like maybe 10 minutes ago. Anybody want to give it a try on the spot without looking at the previous workings? Maybe Shiru? Are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Hello. Would you like to give it a shot?
Actually,
Okay,
I'm
so
not very sure.
okay, so maybe I can go through this again, right? Lookup value, right? What are you looking up? Which value are you looking at?
Is it the row number?
The row number. Yeah, we're looking for row number, but we want to give some sort of command. Then we can look up for that particular
The
row number. Ma.
Name is
So we're looking for the name, right? Which is B. So we're
yeah.
looking at B, right? And then we lock this up first. All right. And then the lookup array, right, is basically the array we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So we will drag this whole column again. Okay. Then I'll lock
Okay.
this up. And then this one I just close it lah. I don't really need this because this is not important. Usually it'll give me, I think it default is 0. So I'll just, oh, okay, maybe I should input something. 0. Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It should be this column, right? Because I'm looking for the alphabets.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll just close this, right? Yeah, you see without the 0, you should output something, right?
Okay.
So this will give me row number 2. You understand?
Yeah.
Can
And
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Okay, so this will be the row number 2, right? For B, right? If I drag this down, this should give me 4 and 5. So you see where I'm going at, right? This is 2, index here is 2, and my match is also, my match output is also 2, right? My D is 4 here, and my match is also 4, right? You see that now I'm trying to do some dynamic shit going on, right? So you see that for claim number, right, I can do an index, right? What's my array? My array is this column here, right? I'm looking for this column. Okay. What's my row number? My row number is actually 2, right? Just now we did 2. It will give me this. But let's try to make it a little bit more dynamic, right? We will change the 2, right, into a match function. Okay. So what are we matching to? We are matching to B, right? To B. My lookup array is here. Okay. And my match type is 0. Okay. Then I'll just close this. Then you see that now the output here will be the same as the output here. Exactly the same. And in fact, it's a little bit more dynamic now, right? Because you see that if I drag it down, I no longer have to go and manually change the 2 to a 4 and the 4 to a 5, right? So things will make life a bit easier lah, right? You all understand the idea of this index match, right? So I give some intuition, right? If I equal to index, right? What am I looking for, right? The array, what am I looking for, right? And then once I'm done looking for something, once I'm done highlighting whatever I'm looking for, right? Then I will go and find out what is the row number I'm looking for. And how do I find a row number? I use match to go and match the row number. Okay. And then after that, I just close the bracket. So that's some sort of the idea, right? I want to go and find the row number. I want to find the column number. That's how I can go and match it together. Okay. Then now let's try to make it, because this is actually more specific to the claim number, right? What if I want to change the heading, right? Let's say I want to change this to H. Then all these values should change accordingly, right? I can't say that if I change to this, I have to redo the formula again. That is quite troublesome, right? So how do I do this? Again, I can do index match, right? Now, right? Let me highlight everything here. Okay, I highlight these 3 columns here, right? I highlight these 3 columns. Highlight these 3 columns, right? And then the next thing is, what's my row number, right? My row number is basically my index that I'm looking for, right? For item B. So I'll match item B. Lookup value is B. Right? And then my lookup array is this column here. Okay? Because I need to look up for this particular value, right? And then I'll put 0 here. Okay. And then the next one is my column number, right? what's my column number, right? I don't really know my column number, but I know that I have to follow the headings here. So let's try to do another match function over here. Okay, so I'm looking up my particular heading here. Okay, let me just log this. My lookup array is 1, 2, 3. These 3 columns here. Okay, this is lookup here, and then my match type is 0. So you see that I have done 2 match functions, right, in one index formula. So this is to make the row dynamic, and this is to make the columns dynamic. Okay, let me just input equal, and this will give me the benefit of this. Okay, by the way, if I index something here, index the column, this will give me 1, 2, and 3. So you see that if I index this, sorry, if I match this, right, my lookup value, let's say I'm looking for claim number, right? I look up this whole array here. You give me 3. Why will you give me 3? 1, 2. You give me 3. Let me see. If I match this, okay, but anyway, this will give me the column that I'm looking for, right? Let's say I change this to age, then this will change accordingly. Okay, so I drag this down. This will then give me everything that I need to find over here. Okay, so this is how it works in general. Okay, anyone has any issues? This is a little bit hard to digest, so y'all can try out first. Y'all try it out. I see a lot of faces that looks a bit confused. I don't know if I'm not a mind reader, but I don't know, are y'all confused? Are y'all confused? Or are y'all okay? I need some responses. Yeah, this is not easy to digest, by the way. At the first run, index and match is not easy to understand. So it's better to type it out once yourself to see how it runs, and then after that you try to do it. I think my tip for you is to do the static one first, and if it's okay, then you try to make it a little more dynamic. Okay, so dynamic means that if I change this, right, claim number, then this will change accordingly. So it makes things a little bit more simpler for your life. That's what dynamic means. And static means keeping it constant at this particular column while changing the rows. Okay, so if it's okay, right, can I move on to XLOOKUP? XLOOKUP is a little bit more digestible, I hope. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so static column again, right? I want to do a XLOOKUP, right? XLOOKUP this particular value. I'm looking for B, right? I'm looking for B, okay. And then I'm looking at lookup array is this array here, right? This lookup array. Hey, what am I doing? Should be fixed, right? My return array, right? I'm looking for age, right? So which column should I be highlighting?
The second one.
Second column, right? The second column here. And then let's say that I want to fill in something here, right? By not found. Okay, I can fill anything, any string that you want. Let's say I say If not found, give me error. Okay. I want error. And then my search mode is match mode is 0. And my this one, first to last. Okay. If I do that, I will drag this down. Okay. I will have a error here. Why? Because I have no Z in this column. So when there's nothing found, you just give me the string that I want it to return. Okay. So this is good in the sense that at least there's some sort of a sensible check for you. Right? Let's say that I'm searching for something. How come this one error? Then or maybe I didn't put the name Z into this database. Then I can go do something about it. And you get what I'm saying? So it sort of gives you a sanity check in case that you missed out some important stuff. Right? So this is interesting for this input here. Okay. And yeah, so that was for age, right? Then for benefit, right? Maybe let's do this. Let's change this to a little bit more dynamic again. Okay. So XLOOKUP, right? I can do a equal XLOOKUP, right? Then I will do again this one, G. Okay. And I want to highlight this column again, right? Because this is what I need to look for, right? And then, right, my XLOOKUP, my return array, I want it to return based on what I'm looking for over here, this benefit type over here, right? But in case this changes, at least my formula is able to thank this whole formula again. So I will do another XLOOKUP, right? And I will look up for this benefit type. Okay. I'll look up for this benefit type, and then I will do B to D like that. Sorry, I will search this B to D 58, right? Because I want to look for this column, right? And I want to output, right, this whole array, right? If I search this, I'll get back this whole array here. If I search for this, I'll get back this whole array here. That's how the idea is working here. Okay, and now I'll do this again. I'll do error. Okay, and then 0, 1. Okay, and then this will give me the output again. So if I change this to age, this would change accordingly. Right? If I change this to claim number, this will give me the claim numbers. Okay, so that's how the idea works. But if you don't understand this, completely fine. You just learn XLOOKUP, so don't worry about this. We will move on first, right? Later, if you have any questions, you can stop me, right? You can ask me during the break. Okay, we should be coming up real soon. Okay, so let's finish this component first, then we take a break. Okay, I hope you all are still alive by then. Okay, so search mode, right? Search mode is quite interesting because we want to do either, right? Because VLOOKUP, right, will only give you the first output that you see, right? If I have another policy here, A, right, then my output cannot read it, right? My output cannot see the new output. So there's something wrong. So sometimes I want to search from bottom to top, right? Let's do this lah. How about I explain? Using the example, right? VLOOKUP this, okay, very similar lah, the same thing, right? VLOOKUP this table array this. Sorry, what am I doing? XLOOKUP, right? This, right? And then I'll look up array for this, right? And then, right, I'll return I want benefit, right? I will look up for this. Okay. If not found, leave it blank lah. Okay. Then match mode 0. Okay. Or usually one exact match. Okay. But now search mode, right? I can search for first to last or last to first. Okay. Let's try -1. -1 is last to first. Then I'll close the bracket. I'll get DA. Okay. Okay. Because this one, right? There's only one entry of B. So you search top or bottom, bottom or top, it'll give you the same answer. So this doesn't matter, right? We look at something more juicy like column E. Column E. Name E. Right? You see that E, right, has this output here and this output here. Right? But now you see that E returns me CI instead of TPD, right? Because technically if I search this, I should get TPD. But because of the way I searched the entries, right? I did a -1. I want bottom to top. So I'll search from the bottom to the top. So I will start with, if I find E anytime at the bottom, I'll output that bottom one straight away. So in that case, this is CI. You understand how the search mode works? It's like a little bit of CS going on here, but some sort of sorting, but some sort of searching. But now we're looking from bottom to top. Okay. Yeah, and same thing. If I do this, since D has only one output, this will give me the same output lah. Right? This should give me the same output. Right? NA because I didn't output anything if that's not found. So that's why they give me the NA sign over here. Okay. So maybe another applicable situation, right, is like let's say I've given certain policy or claim numbers, right? I have claim number 123, 123, 123. Okay. Because when you pay a certain claim, right? Let's say because I'm doing general insurance, right? If I pay a motor insurance, right? If I report a motor insurance claim, right? It doesn't mean that I'll get my full amount paid straight away, right? I will have to file report and then I have to wait for a while to get the claim department to get back to me, right? And there's a lot of back and forth. All right. So let's say I paid on January, I paid like $1 to the insured, right? And then in February, I paid a total of $10 now, including that $1. So now I pay a total of $10 to this particular client, right? I mean to this particular insured. And then in March, right, I finally pay everything off. I paid $100. Okay, after investigation and everything, I realized that paying off $100, right, is enough to close the claim already. Okay, and then now I want to find out, right, how much did I pay for this claim in total, right? Because all these are cumulative, I should technically just take this particular value, right? But if it's doing a VLOOKUP, the record only show that I only paid $1. So that's the importance of searching from bottom to top, because I want to search the latest value here, right, instead of the first value over here. So there's some insights that you can think of next time. Actually, this is what I learned recently, so it's quite interesting to me that I have to search the other way around, or instead of top to bottom. Of course, I can do another way, which is to go and search like, oh, for this claim, what is the latest month that I pay and what's the amount I pay, but I have too much data to look at. So it's better to go and do an XLOOKUP to find out what is the latest amount that I paid for this particular value, for this particular claim. Okay, so that's some interesting ideas. All right, and then finally, right, let's look at the array output version. Okay, so the array output version, right, is simply just, right, XLOOKUP. Lookup value is B, right? Okay, it's a bit boring now lah. It's literally the same shit, right? You do this, lookup array is the same thing, right? And now my return array, right, is simply just this whole column, right? Because I want them to give me these 3 columns side by side, which is these 3 coincidentally, right? So this will be my 3 columns. If not found, blank. I don't want to think of anything else. So I'll just put this, search the first to last. Okay, and then this would also give me an array output again. Okay, Control-Shift-Enter if you need to, and then you drag this down. Then this will give me the output that I will need to have in the end. So you see that XLOOKUP is essentially a subset. No, sorry, it covers everything for VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and index match essentially, right? But if you're comfortable with doing V or H or index match, go ahead. There's no stopping you. No one is there to stop you lah, right? Of course, that's the more fundamental way to do it lah. XLOOKUP is like the new cheat code that they invented. If you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah. Okay. So finally, right, let's try to do the reverse, right? Let's say like your manager give you this particular idea, right? He say, hey, I give you this, right? Can you tell me who is the guy that belongs to this particular shit, this thing here? All right. So what do I need to do? Right? I have to go and search this whole thing, right? To find out who does this belong to, right? So how do I do this? Let me go and do a XLOOKUP again, right? You see that XLOOKUP is really a cheat code here. XLOOKUP, right? My lookup value, right? I have to go and click on this guy. I put an N, I put a this H, and I put this. So I put 3 N's together. I concat all these 3 items together as 1 and 3. Okay, so that's my first step. My lookup value is to find out these 3 particular values concatenated together. Okay, my lookup array, right, will be this array, right, and then you repeat the process, and this array and this array. Hey, sorry, no more n, right? And then after that, right, I will return what do I want to get back. I want to get back the name, right? So I will go and highlight this name over here. Okay, and then I just close. This will give me D, right? You see, it makes sense, right? 3993 is this particular guy. 43 CI is name D, which is name D over here. So that's how you can reverse the process. So how do you think of it? It's like you think of this as one particular index. You think of it as you squeeze everything together, and then I will go and search these particular columns here. But you can think of this whole column as one big column, like one column, essentially one column like that. You don't think of 3 columns. You think of one column like that. And then you're searching all the squeeze values to see, because every one of them will be unique. So you're kind of searching that whole thing away to see which one matches this unique ID. Okay, so that's how we do it. Of course, if you need to lock it, please go ahead and lock it if you have other entries to look for, and then you should be able to get answers. Okay. Okay. So that was a bit of a bit of work to do that we have done. So anyone has any questions at the moment? If there's no questions, maybe let's take a 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back again. Let's say 5:57, and then we'll carry on.
Are you able to solve the question I asked previously lah? So I mean, using this example, right? Let's say client 1, 2, 3, right? I want to get 110 and 100 lah as an output lah.
110 and 100. This guy lah, this particular entry, right? Okay, the rest you all can take a break if you all want. You all don't have to listen to this. Anyway, it's recorded. The web, I think you should be published soon. So maybe just give it some time. Then we'll let you know when the recording is ready. Okay. So you want to see this, and you want to output this array lah, basically.
Yeah, basically. Because you know, like
Okay.
life insurance, yeah, sometimes the benefits are, yeah, we have to match because
Okay.
because now I'm using profit lah, so you can imagine lah.
Yeah, it's quite a pain.
I mean, if you've done profit before, yeah.
Actually, no.
Okay,
Because I'm
that's
doing GI, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Bohui, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this one, I think generally it depends on your purpose. So you mean you're using profit, you need to get the unique values of this, is it?
Yeah. So basically, like, yeah. So I mean, not profit specifically lah, but in general, let's say I have this a client 1, 2, 3, then he has more than one policy, for example. Let's say I use VLOOKUP or even XLOOKUP, right? It gets a bit repetitive because you need to keep looping it. But is there a one function by itself where it can just output all the claims? So let's say 1, 10, 100 lah, with just the client name there lah. Maybe in this case it's 1, 2, 3 lah.
I think there's a few ways, but it's honestly a bit manual to do it because generally, because it will be like an array, but normally we can't really search for arrays. I mean, if I were to be asked this question at work, I think I would just have this data set, right? Then have a pivot table, which we'll be teaching next lesson, and then filter it out by that way. Because if not, you could have another table so you can specify you want the first instance, second instance, third instance, and then you have maybe 100, like more than what you expect, right? And then you can find the first position, second position, third position. But you can see it's a bit like manual in that case.
I'm just wondering, is there a way, I mean, without involving macros lah, of course. I assume that there's a way to do with macros lah. It's just that I've been asked a few times, like Profit, there are launch codes that you need to find them. Then so that's what I've been doing lah. I've been manually filtering it lah, which is quite painful.
Yeah. Understand.
Can imagine lah, run one monopoint also takes a while lah sometimes lah. So I just wanted to see if we can cut time lah. But if
I
it's
think
possible, then I'll just
Maybe I
stick
have
to my.
I have an idea for you. Maybe you can try this, but I'm not sure if it works for you. Let's say I have another few guys, right? Just to make it sure that we are filtering correctly. Right? Maybe 4 and 5 lah. Okay, you can try to use this filter, right? And then my array, I want to output this, right? And then I want to include, right, this to be equal to this particular guy lah, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Then it should give me the array of these few guys lah. So maybe you can try to use that if that's helpful for you. But it's a bit, you have to make it a bit more dynamic lor. Because 1, 2, 3 is that one particular guy, right? And then you have to go and filter that. You have to change that to something that suits you lah. Filter lah, the function is filter.
Yeah. Ultimately, you still need to
Maybe
know
that's
how
one
many.
way.
Yeah, how many. Yeah.
Because this is very, very, very simple example. Yeah. So it can get a bit more xiong.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Are you guys back? If you guys are back, you all can on your videos so that I know that you guys are at your seats. Okay, welcome back. Okay. I take it that the rest are back. Okay. Thanks, Shiru, for the thumbs up. Okay, so maybe let me continue. Okay, so the next component, right, is actually called nested ifs, right? You're guys sharing you can see my screen, right? Okay. So yeah, the next part is nested ifs, right? Basically, essentially what we're doing is if blah blah blah, then another if somewhere. Try to do something like that. Okay, very, very bad syntax. But essentially, yeah. So that's what I try to do. We're trying to do like nested ifs in the ifs, right? If you all take some sort of basic coding, I think you should be something familiar, because that's what they always like to do nested ifs or some sort of recursion or like iteration, right? So yeah, so that's what I try to do here. So if we are let's say we have this particular case here of exam scores, right, which is something quite close to your heart for unis, right? So if you are doing this, right, let's say I want to find out, right, if I've passed either subject, right, either subject means that it's a or, right, if I pass this or this, right? So let me do a if. Okay, so if, right, my passing score is 75 marks, right? So if I put all, right, I put all, then I'll put this guy first, right? Exam A more than 75. Because if I'm more than 75, then I'm a yes, I pass already, right? Or if I put exam B more than 75, right? Maybe just do some lockings first. Okay, then this would give me yes. Otherwise, no. Okay, so the idea is the OR function, right? Remember OR? If I see this, OR true, false, right? Remember that if I have an OR true, false, all true, false, I'll still get a true, right? The only way that this will be a false is that if I get all false, false. If you all understand what I'm saying, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make this, either one of them, a true, right? A yes lah. Basically, I passed. The criteria is to pass it, right? So B86 and E82 is basically saying that if this is more than this, then yes, it's true, I passed, right? And then the second condition is yes, it's true, I passed. Then if both are true, then okay, yes, I passed both. So I still fulfill the condition, right? But if I pass either one of them is false, then I still pass, right? Because I just need one of them to pass, right? Some sort of a discrete math going on over here. Okay, so that's how either pass works, right? If and an or together. Okay, so you see that if this passed, right? So I passed. This didn't pass, I didn't pass. These two failed my criteria. These two failed my criteria. So these are no. Okay, so let's move on to both pass, right? If both pass, right, then it's just changing the or to a and, right? Because and is a little bit more stricter, right? I have to make sure that both conditions are true, then it will return me a true. As long as one of them is false, then it'll give me a overall false. You remember last week, this week or last month, the previous month, Monday, Irvan went through, right? We went through that if there's a false and a true, it will still give me false, right? The only way that n gives you a true is having all the condition being true, right? So let's do this again. B86, right? More than the passing score, right? And then the second condition is this condition more than 75. Okay, then you give me yes. By the way, I mean it could be more than equal to lah, if you're a bit more stricter on it. But the idea is the same. I mean you all see my idea, right? Okay, so you see that these two didn't fulfill the conditions. So I mean this fulfilled, but this did not. So I didn't pass both, right? and so on and so forth. So this will give me the output over here. Okay. So this is if plus or and if plus n. Right? Let's try nested if, right? The main block, right? So I want to see if my exam A, this column here, right? Did I get A, right? Did I get A in the end? Okay. So the idea to measure this is, right, equals to, right, if, right? Okay, so basically the grading score sheet is here, right? If I'm more than equal to 80, then I'm an A, right? Otherwise, I'm not an A grade student, I'm a B or a C or F. Okay, so I want to know what is the grades of these particular grades over here. Okay, of course you can eyeball it and see it, but let's use Excel to guide us through, make our life easier. Okay, so we can create a max and min function for this particular grade, right? If I'm more than equal to 80, my minimum to get A is 80, max is 100, right? And B, min is 70, max is 79, right? And then so on and so forth. So this is the min and max of this. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to look at the highest range first, the highest value that I can get, right? So if right, this particular exam is more than my minimum score over here to get A, right? I hit the bare minimum to get A already. So naturally I should get A, right? So I will get A. Get A. Okay, but right, if I'm not A, then what am I? Right? So I can't possibly say that I'm a B because I might be even lower than a B. Right? I can't say I'm C because I might be even lower than a C. Right? So I don't know which one I am. So I have to put another condition on it, right? To reach my next condition, right? So if, right, this again, this grade is more than my minimum grade, this grade here, then I'm a B. Okay. So why I didn't touch this max is because if I didn't even hit 80, right, I don't even need to touch the max values, right? If I didn't even hit 80, means that I'm definitely below 80, right? I'm already at the below 80 kind of range. But I know that if I'm above 70, then I am at least a B already. So I know that this is true, means I'm definitely a B. You all get the logic over there? I hope you all understand my logic over here. Okay. And then if I didn't get a B, right, means that I know that I didn't even hit 70, means I'm below 70 already. Okay. So then I need to put another if over here. Right? If this condition is more than 60. Okay. Then I'm a C. Okay. So if I know that I didn't even get 60, means I probably failed. So I can just end it off with F. Okay. And then I need to make sure that I cover all my brackets. You see that the Excel has a way, right, to see all your brackets. You see, like for example, this is a purple bracket. I don't know if you can see my screen clearly, but there's a purple bracket over here. It shows that I close the bracket with the purple bracket over here. And then the red closes the red, the black closes the black. So this should be correct. Okay. So you see that, yeah, you see for this grade, I get C. I got a C, which makes sense because I'm 67 and I'm in this range, which gives me a C. And then I put this down, right? Okay, I got this wrong because you know why? What was the mistake? Anybody want to tell me my mistake? Anybody want to catch my mistake? Please catch my mistake. Somebody.
Because you never log
Yes,
minimum.
correct. Who is that? I don't know who is that.
I'm sure.
Oh, sure. Okay, thank you. Sure. Yeah, I didn't lock my my columns. My columns, my rows, right? I didn't lock my rows. So then you see everything got A. Some rig thing going on. Okay, so let me go and lock my rows. Okay, Lock this. Do I need to lock this? Yes, I need to lock this. Lock this, lock this. Okay, so then I pull this down again, right? Then this would give me the outputs that I should be getting, right? 74, yes, I didn't get a A, right? 86, yes, I got an A. I didn't get A, I got F. Okay. Anybody need me to explain the logic of this again? Y'all get it, huh? Okay, great. Okay, so let's move on to the next section, right, which is indirect. Okay, so indirect is basically trying to reference like a particular worksheet out from a worksheet or whichever workbook that you need it from. Okay, but most of the time you're referencing to a worksheet lah. Workbook is a bit more complicated, but worksheet makes more sense in this case. Okay, so to use indirect, we have to use address. Okay, so what's address? Okay, let me just equal to address. Okay, sorry. Address means that I'm creating a cell reference as a text given specific row and columns. Okay, so let's hard code one value out, right? Let's say I want to hard code out. I want to find out what's the address for this particular value here, 55 over here. Okay, so I will key in my row number. I will put 90 because row number 90 here, right, correspond to this, and column B, which is column 2. Okay, then I'll cover this. Then you'll give me B90, right? Yes, yeah, you give me B90. So this will give me the address for B90 over here. So for 55, the address is B90, essentially. So that's what I'm trying to sort of force my way out, right? And then, yeah, so I mean, address is like where you stay, right? So for this 55, he's staying at cell B90. Okay, so that's how we interpret this. So indirect works, right, in a sense that, let's say I want to reference to this homework PA, right, row 6, column 3. Okay, let me go to homework PA, right? I'm going to row 6, column 3. Okay, so I am looking at this NUS. Okay, so let's do a reference here. Equal to row 6, column C. Okay, row 6, column C. So essentially, right, what I want to do in indirect is to replicate this function using indirect. Okay, so let me demonstrate one time. Okay, so indirect, my reference text, right, I have to do a double quotation, then single quotation, then a double quotation. Okay, and then I will put on this particular cell. And okay, don't worry, let me just key in this syntax because it's quite a troublesome syntax. Okay, and address row 6, column 3. Okay, you see some reference GG. Okay, I didn't put the exclamation mark here. Okay, yeah, I didn't put exclamation mark. Yeah, you see, the magic is to create the same thing. Okay, so what I'm doing here, right, is essentially to create this syntax to be equal to this syntax over here. Okay, so let me just do it side by side comparison. Actually, give me a moment. Okay, so what I'm doing here is this homework dash PA, right? Okay, actually there's a quotation here lah, right? I'm trying to replicate this formula using a Excel formula over here. Okay, so the indirect function right, is to create this address here, and this using this thing here, I will reference to whatever I need to reference to in essence lah. Okay, so let's go through one time, right? First, I will equal to indirect. Okay, let me zoom in real tight in because the quotations are the painful ones. Okay, so I will do indirect. Okay, and then I will do a double quotation here, then a single quotation, then a double quotation, right? The idea here is to concat something over here. Okay, I try to concat the homework dash group PA with the exclamations and the apostrophes. So this is the whole idea here. To create this homework dash PA exclamation mark. Okay. And then after that, I end the address of whatever I'm looking for, right? Row 6, column 3, which is B90. So I'm going to homework. Sorry, no, that's not B90. This is C6, right? I'm going for homework dash PA C6, which is address of this. So then this will reference me to NUS, right? Which is the one that we are looking at. Okay, so the main trick is actually this stupid apostrophes here. There's one apostrophe here. There's one apostrophe here. So you all take note when you all are using this formula. There's an apostrophe and an exclamation mark. This is quite important. If you miss this exclamation, then you will get a reference error like how I did just now. Okay, and then that's something wrong. Okay, the idea is to replicate the cell that you're referencing, essentially, but you're creating in a hard-coded way. I mean, you're creating in a more formulary way instead of just clickings. Okay, so why is this important, right? Because, right, let's say you have several worksheets, right? We are taking a look at this, right? Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, right? You see that they are actually the same format, right? We are putting policy number and claims in the same row and column, right? And the policy numbers are all here, right? And the claims are all different, right? Because they're different quarters. So what I want to do is I want to reference to the different columns here, and then I sum them up later on, right? So this is actually quite useful because I can compile all the different worksheets together, right, into one particular table for me to use and answer them. Okay, so let's try this out, right? Equal to indirect. Equal to indirect. My reference text, right, is actually just, okay, first I need to do the open inverted, right? I do a double quotation, then after that a single quotation, and then a double quotation. Okay, and I concat the N with the N, right? And what's the sheet number, right? What's the sheet name, right? It's actually just Q1. I want to reference to Q1. So I just click on Q1. Okay, and I lock this here. Okay, and then I carry through. Right, carry on. I put a double quotation, single quotation, exclamation mark, close quotation. All right, and right, my address, right? What's my address? My address is actually this column, this row, right? And my column number is just 2, right? Okay, because this address here is because when I look at this, I see that my row number is always 2, right? Because I'm always at policy 1, right? I'm always at the second row, right? They are the same format lah, basically. So I just create a working column over here. I put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because this is just row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that I can just reference this straight away to that. Okay. So then this is, let me lock the column. Okay. So if I drag this down, I should get this amount, which is exactly equal to this amount. This amount's over here. Okay. So that's how the indirect function works. It helps to compile different similar sheets together into one table for you to reference easier. Okay, and I drag this over. This will reference to sheets, sheet Q2, which is this sheet over here, right? This will go to sheet Q3 and sheet Q4, right? And then they'll go to its own respective sheets and grab out the different values that you need to. Okay. And finally, right, total claims is just essentially sum. Okay. And then you sum it up and drag it down. Then they'll give you the different values that you need to find. You guys so far getting what I'm doing?
Just a quick question, right? Is it
Yeah.
possible to use the @ sign instead in Excel? Because sometimes you can just put the I don't know whether you all use it in your a general insurance side lah, but sometimes you can just put @ then for example you want to get the mortality rate and then it'll match directly to the row, I guess. Yeah.
Like this function.
Yeah.
I actually don't even use this function. But I don't know, Pu
because-
Hui, do you use this?
No, I also don't use it actually.
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
my company use it lah, so I wonder if you all know how to code the syntax lah.
Oh, wow.
Because
Your
it's just
company quite high level.
I don't know lah, but because if you just put equals @ that column or what variable,
Oh,
right? It matches directly.
I think what they did was they actually created some sort of table beforehand already, right? Is it? Because that's how
but
they labeled it already.
yeah, but how do you get the how do you use the @ sign lah? That's my question
Oh.
lah. If
Because
you all know.
some of them they already labeled the tables. So when you add something, you should reference to that table. So they have already named the tables already in some sense. So then that's another level. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that when we talk about next lesson, maybe. I don't know. Or sometime soon. We can talk about it another time. Or chit chat session. Which is next week. Okay. Yeah, so that's for indirect. Anyone else got any other burning questions for this? Or anything else? Doesn't have to be this. Okay, so let me move on, right, to this final one. Okay, and this is a offset function. Okay, so offset function is actually quite useful for this particular case over here. Okay, so if you all have seen this before or have not seen this before, this is actually called a loss triangle, right? So what we're trying to do is, because just now as I explained, maybe we have a certain claims, right, that you are not entirely closed yet, right? There are still some claims that might not have been reported yet and they are not reviewed yet when you straight away report them straight away, right? So what this does is that, right, for the different loss years, right, you have a particular values here, right? But these are not this might not be the fixed values, right? Because every year, already in future years, there might be a certain development, right? It can increase or decrease depending on how the reserves are set, right? So, but ultimately, this will be constant. In the long run, this should be constant, right? In the long run, because I should have already settled everything in the claims 100 years from now, right? And I'm already should be constant already. Okay, so that's what a triangle is actually essentially is. So what we want to do is but you see that all the diagonals here, right, are actually the current development period, right? So let's say I want to find out what's the number of claims, right, at the end of 2020, right, which is essentially all these years. Okay, so what I can do is, right, I want to go and equal to this, right, equal to this, 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 right? You see that when I try to equal to this, right, I already have some trouble because it's so annoying to click on the diagonals, right? So what I want to do is I want to do a simpler way, right? I want to do index match. I want to do a offset. right? This function that I was talking about. Okay, so offset, let me just go and call this function. Okay, returns a reference to the range of which is given row and column of the given reference, right? So let's try this. Because I want to get this particular value, right? So I should start from this as my reference, right? And then I will, how many rows do I want to move? I don't really want to move, right? Because I'm already here. So I move 0 rows. Okay. And how much column do I want to move? I want to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to move 5 to the right. Okay. So this is something like XY axis lah. If you're going to the right, you're positive. You're going to the left, you're negative. Right? Same thing for up and down. Right? If you're going more rows upwards, then you're positive. If you're going downwards, you're negative. Right? So that's how we usually do this. But in this case, we are looking at moving to the right by 5. So actually, I've already done I already did some cheating and I did my working column already. So I already prepared the columns here for you. Okay. So when I do this, I'll move 5 to the right and call my value over here, which will be this value here. Okay. If I drag this down, right, I will call this, right? Because, right, the idea now is I'm at this particular row. I want to move 4 to the right. And just nice, this 4 to the right. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is 4 to the right, right? So therefore, I will get this value here. Okay, and so on and so forth. So I drag this down. This will give me all the columns that I want. Wow, this makes life so much easier, right? Comparing to you equal to this, equal to this, equal to this. I think you'll get some errors here and there. So it's quite annoying. Okay, so this is how offset function works. Okay, if I want to move to the left, I just put negative 5. Then I'll go to the right instead. Because sometimes the triangle might be inverted, and then I want to do it the other way around. So I have to do -5 or something like that. Then that's how it will grab the values from there. Okay. So I can also use my favorite index match. Okay. So how can I do this? I will do this by, first I will do index. Okay. What's my array? Right. My array is essentially C17 to H. Sorry, not C17. C1172 to H117. Okay. And then I will log this. Okay, then I will match. Okay, I will match what am I looking for? I'm matching E126. I'll match E126, right, with this particular column over here as well. Right? Because I'm looking for the same thing. C116. Oh, sorry, this one here. Sorry. C116 to H116. Okay. Because I'm looking for the column over here. So I log this. Then I'll get 0. Then I'll get the same thing. Right? I'm actually checking out this column here. Right? I'm actually I'm indexing this, but I'm looking at the 6th column of this. You understand what I'm saying? I index this, but I want my row number, right, to be this particular one instead, or my column number. Because sometimes they will recognize that I'm not looking for a row number. So then this will give me this. If I drag it down, okay, this is wrong. This will give me something else. Oh, because I locked the thing, right? I shouldn't be locking this because this should be moving downwards as I'm moving down, right? So I wouldn't lock this. Then I'll just drag this down and it will give me the same answer as this, right? Because you see that as I go down, right, I'm searching down the rows. And this will give me the output that I want, right? If I go down, I'm looking at column 5. If I go down, I'm looking at column 4, and so on and so forth, 3 and 2 and 1. That's how essentially we are doing this. Okay? You all have anything to ask or anything you want me to re-explain again? If not, then these are all the functions that I'm teaching today. It's quite a bit to take in, so maybe you all can go and try and practice it in real life, or maybe if you're bored, you can try and create some examples and try to do some manipulations to it. Okay, but thankfully there's some homework for you guys to do. So let me just go through a very quick idea of what this whole example is. I mean, this whole homework is about. Okay, so essentially you're given a set of data over here. Okay, and then your let's say your NTU, SMU, or NUS, right? So these schools, right, are insured by two different companies essentially, right? It's called Left and Glen. Okay, so these are Left Insurance and Glen Insurance. So different school have bought different insurance. Okay, so NUS is bought Left all the way. NTU has bought some Glen for a few years and then some Left in the last few years. Okay, and SMU is fully Glen. Okay, so and then all of them have different premiums, right, at different years, and in fact, Left have different rates for different genders as well. So we should try and take note of this. Okay, and then we are given a data set over here. Okay, so the idea is to go and try to answer all these questions here. And then we will go through that in the next lesson, which is Monday. Right? Yeah, next Monday. So then you all can you all have a lot of time to go and prepare for this this homework lah. And then we'll go through again on Monday. Then we will talk about that again. And then we'll move on to the following lesson after that. So it's like homework, go through homework, then go through new content. And then after that, it repeats itself again. Okay? And next week, we will talk about the coursework. So let's get ready for that as well. Did I just lag? I'm not sure. They show me I have an unstable connection. But okay. Okay. I think we kind of ended things kind of early. So I'll just hang around here. If you all have any other questions, you all can ask me. But otherwise, we can call it a night. Okay, I know it's been a long day for everybody.
Yep. Before you go, can you guys also do this mid-course survey in
Yeah.
the chat? Yeah. So that we know how to pace like the future lessons, if it's too fast, too slow, or anything. Yeah. So next lesson on Monday we'll have the chit-chat session. So it will be like around 30 minutes more. They can prepare any questions you want. It will be very open. Yeah. Then once you're done, you can stay around if you have any questions, or you may feel free to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good
Thanks,
weekend,
guys.
guys.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much. Sorry, do you mind sharing the Excel file with the formulas so I can
Oh, yeah,
cross-check on
sure.
some of the
Yeah,
things?
sure. We will
Thank you
send the
so much.
answers. Yeah, no problem. See you tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.